Well, crude oil is up about 4.5% today as traders feel the impact of tighter sanctions starting July 1st by the U.S. and Europe against Iran over its nuclear program. Our next guest says we've seen oil prices hit bottom last week when WTI crude plunged to $77 a barrel. He's expecting to see oil prices back in the $90 range this summer. For more on this, we're joined by John Voros. He's Senior Petroleum Analyst at Enpro International. It's nice to have you here.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
So let's start with first where you think we've been, that you think that $77 WTI, that's dead and gone. We're not going to see that again for a while?
That is history.
Why?
I think that the world investors, they overreacted to pricing, the fear of problems in Europe, and I think there was an overreaction. And I think what we're seeing right now is the premium. The traders in New York are bringing back the premium that was taken away with Iran.
Yeah.
On Monday, I understand that being the long weekend, you miss out on some of the things, but there's been some sabre-rattling going on in that part of the world, and Iran is talking about closing the Straits of Hormuz, and also they're starting to do some missile drills. So that really makes the traders in New York nervous, and we've seen crude jump $7 on Friday, and it's up another $3.50 today. So we're almost back $10 over where it was on Thursday.
Do you remember seeing this kind of volatility? I mean, this is crazy, $10 in 2 days.
It's, yeah, the volatility is, with all this uncertainty in the world, there's going to be continued volatility, and I think that's something that we have to live with now.
When I look at oil prices, and I see there's the risk on, risk off, you know, beta that tracks everything, commodity stocks. Then you've got geopolitical. And then you've actually got, you know, the old supply and demand, which people tend to forget about right now. Which of those do you think are going to dominate oil moving forward?
I think the issue in Iran is going to be a big factor, because how long is Israel going to just sit back and wait for Iran to develop nuclear weapons? I mean, that's the big fear. The talks that they had back in the middle of June, they didn't go anywhere. The sanctions are starting now July 1st. And Iran is not going to just sit back idly. And now I think why we're seeing some discussions coming out of Iran that they're going to try and get prices back up, because this is really hurting their revenues, even though they're selling a lot less oil.
So where do oil prices go to then from here?
I think we're going to see oil in the $85 to $100 range. I think that there's going to be a big jump.
That's a big range. I mean, closer to 100 or closer to 85? I mean,
I think it's
in the next. Let me ask you, in the next 2 weeks. Sorry.
In the next 2 weeks, probably closer to 90.
Based on?
I think based on the risk factor, the fact that Iran, there might be some conflict or military activity in that major supply point of the world. And the Strait of Hormuz, I mean, 40% of the oil travels through that area. And if that's cut off, I mean, oil could just skyrocket. Yeah.
And what is, again, I just want to understand scenarios. I know you're not predicting, but what does skyrocket mean to you?
Skyrocket means $150 a barrel. That's what it means, which is pretty scary. I mean, compared to where we are now, it's like 60–70% jump in pricing. That's,
and how long would that be sustained for? I mean, when you see something like that, is that?
I mean, it's something major would have to happen. There would have to be actually military confrontation going on for that kind of scenario to unroll.
It's sobering on, I mean, the reasons why it's sobering, obviously, is for the situation in what it is. But also, if you had $150 oil, I mean, what does that do to the world economy and its fragile state, quite frankly?
No, we're going to see, your gasoline prices are going to, increase significantly. I mean, anything related to energy will go through the roof. Your cheap airline flights down to Florida will skyrocket. So I think that's going to have a huge dampening effect on the world economy. I mean, it could drive us back into a worse recession than where we are now.
You're not a cheery guy right now, John, I have to say. So the $90 scenario that you're talking about in the next few weeks, I mean, let's just say that things sort themselves out. or they just don't blow up. Let's put it that way, because I doubt things are going to get sorted out. Barring that extreme situation, 90 is where you see things over the next few weeks?
I think there's more chance the price is going higher. I think the market's overreacted, dropping down into this, the high $70 range, and I think that we're going to see prices in the $90 range in the near term.
Is there anything that's going to cause the markets to, again, I just want to understand, to go back to that $75, $77 range the next while? Concerns about, a European meltdown of some sort? Or do you think we're past that at this point in terms of, the agreements that have been put in place to this point?
I think one of the big factors that can really drive oil prices up is quantitative easing from the U.S. Federal Reserve. I mean, if they bring in another major infusion into the economy, that's always, we've had two already, two major infusions, and every time that's happened, it's caused commodity prices to accelerate dramatically.
So looking at everything out there, it's weighing to the upside quite heavily.
I think so, definitely.
All right, John, great to have you here.
Okay, thank you very much.
John Voros, Senior Petroleum Analyst with Enpro International, and he joined us here.